I think we should be live. Let's see. Awesome. Wait. Right now, I need to flip my camera. Nice. Flip. Good. Cool. We are live. Let me just write live. Okay, so it's been a while since I've done a live stream, since I've gotten a job and everything, but now we're doing a live stream and we're gonna do some cupping. So if you don't know what a cupping session is, it's pretty much just evaluating beans with a very simple technique that you just pour hot water in and then like taste it and see how it compares to the different beans that you are cupping together with it. So today I'll be cupping these 3 beans over here. And it's quite the wide variety of beans going on over here. So we have like a very specialized Ethiopian Wush, and it's a heirloom. And there's just not that much to talk about this one because it's like so specialized, and I haven't like had a Wush before, so I'm kind of excited to try this and see how it goes. But we'll see what happens. Like Ethiopia has a lot of really delicious and like light roast, fruity, floral, nutty cups of coffee. So hopefully this one has some of those qualities and we can taste those. The second bag we have over here is a blend actually. So it's a blend with Arabica and Robusta. I had a really good espresso shot with these beans over here, and I really wanted to see if I could get a good pour over with it. So that's why I got one of these bags over here to just cup and taste a bit and see what I can get out of it. We'll see what happens. It's roasted for sure a bit on the darker side compared to the 2 other beans that I have over here. So we'll see how that fares in the cupping session. The last one I have is a Kenyan. This guy over here. And so far, like, a lot of the Kenyans that I have are just like delicious and juicy and like my favorite beans to go to. And hopefully this one lives up to some of those expectations. So yeah, let's begin. I will move you down like this. Or actually, I guess I should just talk about the variables of how to do cupping. So we'll be using 8 grams of coffee. And we'll be using 150 grams water. So this is pretty much the ratio that I'll be using. Let's see, what's the ratio of that? I think it's like around 15 or something. No, a bit more, like 16-ish. Yeah, but pretty much this is what I've been using for my measurements for cupping for a long time. And it works really well, it's pretty simple, and you just let it sit for around 4 minutes. So pretty much you let it sit for 4 minutes before you break the crust and scoop off the top. So yeah, let's begin. And a final thing, I have this mini pouch from the James Hoffman pour over, or actually cupping session that he did, that I've always kept just because it's like a good indication of what the grind size should be, but it's like pretty fine. And right now we also need to bring our grind size to this setting over here. So let's do that. We'll twist this. Bring it a bit finer. And we'll open up these guys. Okay. Turn you down like so. Let's just look at the beans a bit. So here we have the Ethiopian Wush. I'll put some in small cups so that we can compare it. Like so. Here we got those beans. I can instantly tell that they're way more, they have like a really bright scent to it, which is amazing. And then we got the blend. I was expecting it to actually be a bit darker, but it's actually not that dark of a bean. So this is a blend of Arabica and Robusta. And then we got the Kenyan over here. Sizing wise, the Kenyans are the biggest compared to the two others. So we'll see how that works out. Cool. Let's do some grinding. So the first thing I want to do is make sure that my grind size is good on my grinder. So I'll just dose in some of this. And figure out my grind size. So right now, this grind size is a bit coarse, so I need to go even finer when I compare it to the mini pouch. I can tell that this one is way coarser than the fineness over here. So this fineness is kind of like maybe 10 or so notches lower. Let's lower it. So, toss that out. Okay, so this looks much better. Maybe even just a bit finer again, but not that big of an increment. But it's looking for sure much closer to the reference that we have. Like so. Okay, so this is looking good. The grind size is nice and fine, ready for cupping. And if I would have to say like a micron size, let's bring up this. Dose some out on my hand. Use my ruler. So looking really closely at it, I think it's still actually a bit coarse. So I'm gonna notch it down yet again, because right now it's around medium, which is around 800 to 1000, but we'll make it even finer than that. We kind of want to get into this range over here. This is the dilemmas with new burrs. You gotta like recalibrate everything, learn where all the new settings are. Okay. It's more like 800 right now, range. Kinda. But I would say that's good enough for this cupping session. Looks very uniform though. Like I'm amazed at the lack of fines that I have over here. Yet again with those new burrs. Looking so good. Amazing grind consistency. Okay, so let's measure out our beans. So we need 8 grams. Oh, there are still some beans in there, but it's the same beans, so it's fine. So the one thing that I instantly noticed with these Wush Wush Ethiopian heirloom beans is that the scent is like kind of funky and tart. Like in a good way also, it's like kind of like a candy of sorts. And that's just from grinding it and like getting that experience. Okay, so we got tons of beans here. Let's bring it over to a bowl. Bring 8 grams in. Like so. Toss that out. And make sure we align these properly. So we got the Ethiopian right over here, like so. And then we'll do this guy, the Kenyan. And I always do a bit of extra beans so that you can purge the grinder and then make sure that all of the beans that you're grinding are the bean that you're using. So I measured out around 10 grams. Grind a bit, make sure that all of the beans are being removed here. No excess old beans in the hopper and grinder, and then grind the remaining. Okay, so these beans over here, after I ground them, they kind of smell like like Marmite. Has that kind of like a savory scent to them. Okay, funky. We got a lot of weird scents going on. Okay, 8 grams, perfect. And we'll align this with this one over here. And the reason why I left this one to the end is because I didn't want to kind of like contaminate it too much with a darker / Robusta bean type. So we'll grind this one right now. Okay, so this one for sure has more of the smokiness that you get from the roast level when you smell it. So these were a bit more brighter. This one was a bit more like Marmite-y. This one is for sure smoky, campfire-y. And this is just from the scent that we're getting here. Oh, why don't you want to tear? Oh. There we go. Eight grams, nice. Okay, so we have all of our beans aligned now. Looking good. Like so. And what we do now is we start pouring water in them. I'll bring the boiling water. I'll also bring a timer. So pretty much the way that I like to do it is I like to measure out one of these cups or bowls. And they're pretty much all the same size. I tear. What I do is I kind of just pour 150 grams, trying to submerge all of the grinds at the same time. Like so. 150. And what I do is I just look at the level that this one is at, and I do on these guys. You don't need to measure all of them. Like so. And like so. A bit more of this one. Nice. And then we start a timer for 4 minutes. That is the steep time that we have for these. So while we wait, I'll just move the camera up a bit and talk about life. Like so. Bam. The struggles. So if you don't know yet, I actually started a coffee job last week, and it's been probably one of my favorite jobs so far in my whole life, which is kind of crazy to say because I've had a lot of different jobs. But this job over here, actually my face is totally cut off up there. There. But just this job over here is still a barista job. But the thing is that there is no cash that needs to be dealt with at all because we're serving a very specific company and just dealing with their employees and their work from home people that kind of like come and go all the time. So it's such an interesting and fascinating experience to focus so much on customer service that I haven't like had that type of a experience before. Because whenever money is in the picture and you're dealing with like the transaction of things and like the kind of like what, like you're always doing this mini dance or something to kind of like do that interaction. But now it's just all about the customer service aspect, which is amazing. And I feel like this job over here is just so fit for my personality, what I want from a job, and really just the like what a barista job should be, just really focusing on the quality of coffee and that experience to create a really good and delicious like pick-me-up for someone in the morning or afternoon. So I've like really had a good time at this job, and it's just kind of crazy how I see it as a better job than some of my like graphic design jobs in the past or all of my other barista jobs. It's just such a refreshing like breath of fresh air here. So job is so far going good. Hopefully it keeps on staying good, and we'll see what happens. As for just making videos on YouTube, I actually earned my first dollar not too long ago, which is amazing. So I got YouTube partnership, but there was this huge like delay in getting a pin. So if you don't know, whenever you make the YouTube partnership requirements, which is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, you are allowed to apply for the YouTube partnership program, which allows you to get some of the profits from the ads. Well, one thing that I didn't take into consideration was the duration of how long it would take to actually get the PIN number, because it's linked with something called AdSense, and they need to like send you manually this PIN to then activate your account. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it. Congrats on the new job, he says. Yeah, it's just a job that is so well fit for me, and I love it. I can just nerd out about coffee with people and just give them the best experience ever and get paid for it. And that's pretty much what I'm doing here too on the YouTube channel. So it's just such a breath of fresh air again. And we've now hit the 4-minute mark. So let's move you down and let's finish off this cupping part. So in this segment, let's move this down, like so. I have a cup over here and I'm gonna fill it with water. Like so. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use 2 spoons and we're gonna scoop off the top layer of these bowls over here. And we do it like this. You create kind of like 2 claws. Go all the way away from you, and then you slowly get off all the grinds and scum that is layered on the top, like so. You can do this a couple of times if you feel like you didn't get all of it in the first run. But it should look like so. And then I'll do this bag. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions or just want to chat about something, just write in the comment section. I'm always down to chat about anything. I can already tell that this one is for sure the darker one just by visual identification. So if I would have to pick these out of a lineup, this is easily the darkest of these 3 roasts. Like so. And then we got this guy. And the reason why I'm purging my spoons between these bowls is that I don't want to cross-contaminate the liquid too much. Like so. And like so. Nice. And even though we are ready for cupping, I actually, like, the best thing to do is actually to let them cool down a bit so that we can really taste the differences here in these beans. So I'm gonna let them cool down for around 7-ish minutes. So I'll just move you back up and talk a bit more. Let's turn on the timer. Bam. Yeah, so just thinking about how I want to like move forwards with brewing habits and what I create for this channel, I think I'm still gonna consistently try to do live streams like this and also create 1 video every week. That is like my goal to hit with brewing habits, because really like the amount of joy that I've gotten from the channel and the amount of interactions that I've gotten with the channel and the content that I create and all of the positivity that I've just experienced is amazing. And I totally want to cultivate this even longer and just really make something amazing out of it that will keep on growing into the future. And I just see it as such a blessing that I have this skill over here and that people are interested in the way that I am curious and the way that I share and create content, that they are you guys following me and watching the stream, for example, or watching my videos. And it's just so like, it's such a great feeling to have this type of like a relationship with a community, and that's amazing. So even though I have a job, I'm still gonna consistently, hopefully make banger content on coffee and bring that out there. And some things that I'm now making videos on is like barista things, what is required to be a barista. I also want to look into Robusta beans. So the varietal Robusta is kind of, I wouldn't say popping these days, but it is getting more spotlight than normally because of the whole climate change and the planet getting hotter, meaning that Arabica beans that need a very specific window of temperature, humidity, and like water and all this like picky scenarios are having a harder time to grow and create big yields of coffee. So a lot of people are looking into Robusta and try to make that into like the bring it into the specialty coffee range. So I think that is really fascinating, and I want to just roast my own Robusta beans and see what happens. And just, yeah, there's just so many weird coffee things that I want to learn about. So as me being with this cafe, I want to play around with a TDS reader. So the thing that reads how much is extracted in your cup of coffee. And I can borrow one of those probably, which would be awesome to play around with on a live stream and just show you how it works and kind of like identify things in my brew. And yeah, it's just always more coffee things to learn, which is amazing. Okay, I'm actually gonna go and get some water before we start this cupping, so I'll be right back. And we are back. Okay, let's begin. We'll turn it back down again, like so. And we got our cupping spoon. The nice and golden cupping spoon. And the first thing that we want to do is we just want to go through them and get to know them. So sip it and see what it tastes like and just get a first impression of these beans over here. So the way it works, take a bit, like so, and slurp it. Like so. Okay. So far, just light first impressions. This one is for sure the roast level qualities. Like this one is showcasing a lot of those roast level qualities. This one over here wasn't as juicy as I thought it was. It's actually more silky, so the body is very silky. This one has the it kind of tastes like it smells, which is kind of amazing. So it has that kind of like bright funk going on. So I kind of want to dive more into this one, so I'll take a sip again. So the Ethiopian heirloom one is really amazing yet again, as in it is tasting like it smells. So let's go back over here. So this one luckily does not taste like it smells, like the more mighty scent that we were getting. But it does have much more of a rounded body, which is nice. Let's try it again. So it has some like berry flavors in it for sure. I'm not getting a lot of like sweet ripe berries, but more like slightly underripe tart berries going on. Let's try it again. And yet again, the body is a bit more silky on this one. Now let's go into the Arabica Robusta over here. So I'm not tasting any kind of like brightnesses in this one. And it's kind of to be expected because of the roast level and because of the blend of beans, but I was hoping that it had some type of acidities or nuances that I could latch onto and try to maybe highlight in a pour over. But on the bright side, this one isn't as darkly roasted as one would expect. So it's kind of just lightly there with the roast level tastes, meaning it's not overpowering and it's not overly roasted. So those roast level tastes and qualities of the smoky, charred kind of like notes, it's not overpowering the blend, which is a good thing. Let's try it again. Yeah, I'm totally gonna try the osmotic flow with this bean over here, just to see if we can get something interesting out of these dark roast beans over here. These two over here are for sure brewable with a higher brewing ratio, like the James Hoffman or the Tetsu Kasuya technique, to really get those interesting and nuanced notes to shine a bit more. While this one doesn't really have those notes to highlight, so I would rather try to lean into the dark roast side of this bean over here with the osmotic flow technique. Let's really hone in on the mouthfeel of these. So we'll go over here. So this one does coat my teeth and inner lips really nicely, which is like silky nicey, which is really pleasant. I don't think it coats it as much as this one, so we'll compare it side by side. Let me purge my mouth. Or actually, I lied. This one is coating my mouth more silky than this one, while this one is a bit more rough on the mouthfeel. So overall, this one has the silkiest mouthfeel. This one is a bit more rough on the mouthfeel, but still pretty silky. And let's compare this one over here. And this one over here has the most kind of like richness, like thickness to it. which is kind of like what you would get with a French press and the kind of like thick liquid that you would get from a metal filter. But it's also those oils and the roughness and the more fines that you get from a dark roast that gets embodied in the liquid over here. So this is not silky at all. It's more thick and heavy on the mouth. I should totally try these beans on a French press too. And it's pretty pleasant. So silky smooth, kind of silky smooth, but not as silky smooth as that. More thick and kind of like rich on its mouthfeel. And for the final pass, let's just really go in and see what we like the most from the specific cup over here. So I feel like this one has potential for a lot of juiciness. It's not really showcasing just yet with these beans or with this cupping session, but I would probably play around with just getting that juiciness out of these beans to see if I can kind of like highlight it a bit more, because it has initially a nice kind of like thickness to it. This one over here. I like how pleasant it is with the roast level notes. So a lot of beans that are roasted dark usually hit you in the face with those roast level qualities, while this one is just a bit more pleasant with those notes. So I think we can for sure play around with this one on a pour over and kind of like highlight those notes a bit more. This one over here. This one for sure is the most interesting one of the batch that we have over here. It has the silkiest body, which is nice and coats your teeth really nicely. But it also has the most funkiest taste, which in my mind is a positive, because I love exploring coffees that kind of like are different. But these two are a bit more of like the standard coffees that you would get. This is like the funk town that you would explore with and try new things and really like push the boundaries of what delicious coffee is. And it has like a really interesting taste. Let's taste it again. Yeah, it's like funky. And hopefully that funk, kind of like fermenty tartness taste can be brought out and highlighted in a cup of coffee down the road. We'll see what happens. So that's pretty much it for this cupping session. Overall, there is a bean for everyone in here, and I think that me personally, I will enjoy playing around with this one a lot, but I see a lot of potential with this one with a French press. And this one over here, probably with a fabric filter to try to highlight the body of it a bit more. So we'll see what happens. I'll play around with these beans on my spare time and see if I can get a really good cup of coffee. But that's pretty much it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this live stream, and I'll see you in the near future. Take care. Have a good one. Enjoy your weekend. Stay hydrated. And that's it.